everybody, and welcome to Mayor Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour.
Hello, hello, hello out there in television land.
Hey, yeah.
Put down that phone and watch the show. Well, actually, they're probably watching it on their phone, so you can't put down the phone.
Right.
Change what you were watching on the phone to this.
Yes.
Man, I tell you something. You go to people. You know what I heard about kids, and this is really wild. One of the things they get upset with their parents or friends is that they'll be in a swim meet or like any sort of dance recital or
Yeah.
something. I said, "Did you see me? Did you see me? Did you see me?" Oh, I didn't look up from my phone long enough to see you in real life. I
Uh,
was too busy, playing Tetris or some game or something.
speaking of that, sometimes when a little kid's on a stage or something,
Yeah.
they wave.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Let them know that they're
That
on
they're
the,
there.
you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
good.
Right.
My dad has a funny story how one of my sisters was playing softball and he came a little late to the game, like in like the second inning,
Yeah.
and a fly ball was hit to one of my sisters, and then it dropped in front of her. But then she looked at Dad and waved at him, and then ran to pick up the ball to throw to him. Wait a minute, wait a minute. It reminds me of I heard this about Dizzy Dean, the famous pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals,
Yeah.
was that he once stopped a game once while he was pitching just to see.
Right.
This is back in the 1930s, just to see the plane flying overhead,
Okay.
and because he was like a country boy and never saw from Arkansas
Right,
or
yeah,
something, which was probably a very backward place in
yeah,
the day. Arkansas is not that way anymore, but
yeah.
anyway, he stopped with it, and then I think he did that a few times. I think he stopped doing it when the manager got mad at him because I
Right.
think the guy stole second base on him while he was looking up
Yeah.
at the plane going by.
Right.
And so yeah. Oh, my name is Kaye Lazar, and I try to make every one of your shows. And
Yeah.
if I can't be on it, I try to watch it.
Yeah.
And if I can't watch it, then I tell all my friends about it. And
Uh,
so yeah, so tell all your friends about this wonderful show.
yes, it's a wonderful show, people. Y'all. I encourage you all to tune in.
Yeah,
So,
but not this episode.
yeah,
Just the past ones.
yeah, the past ones that we did
The other
before.
ones are so. No,
Yeah,
everyone asks me they ask me about the plays I'm in or
yeah,
movies I've been in, and they say, "What's your favorite one?" I said, "The next one."
yeah, me too. Every one that I'm in is my favorite
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
want to move on to the next one.
Sometimes I have to admit I've seen a movie version, a movie that I was in, and certain movies.
Yeah,
I saw Major Payne with
yeah.
Damon
Oh, I've heard of
Wayans,
that one.
and I've seen, and then a few others, and then when it was over, I said, even though I was in it, I said, if I wasn't in this movie, I don't think I would have gone to see it. George Raft, I understand, never saw any of his movies. I'm sure he saw Scarface or something. He was in one of those gangster movies.
Yeah,
I think Robert Mitchum didn't watch certainly more than half of the movies he was in.
yeah,
And he says, "Oh, they pay me to be in them. They don't pay me to watch them."
yeah.
Some people get these like strange sort of fixations on things.
Right.
Like was there any like toy you had as a kid that you couldn't get rid of? I mean, no matter what. I mean, we actually mentioned it, Linus, a security blanket, which is now part of the lexicon.
Oh
Now
yeah.
people say that's called a security blanket. He couldn't be without his blanket.
Right.
What did you ever have anything like that? Any like stuffed animal or anything?
Oh yeah, I had a Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf.
I would carry him everywhere I went,
All right.
and I still have him till this day.
Mm-hmm.
And he never left my sight.
A Papa Smurf.
Yeah, and then I also had a security blanket.
A blanket like Linus had.
Yeah,
A real. I
I
guess
I
you took it. You're a real diehard.
yeah, I still have it.
Yeah.
I still have it. So
My mom would show me or give me like a T-shirt I had when I was like a baby or something.
yeah,
It said, "Don't throw this away. We've been keeping this, at least 40 years for you."
yeah.
And I said, oh, okay. And then you don't want to throw it out. You don't want to use it for anything. You don't want to clean a butter knife with it. You don't want to check the oil in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something we've kept all this, and it's just a
Yeah.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a baby around who would enjoy it more.
Right.
This heirloom. I
Yeah.
had when I was confirmed as a baby, like a lot of people
Yeah.
are. I think the thing now is to buy these fancy clothes for the baby.
Yeah.
But I had a gown that you couldn't buy. It was so valuable. It was
Yeah.
like silk and everything. And what happens is usually you knew somebody with that type of gown, and the mother usually would lend it to all her friends when they had
It was
babies.
like a christening gown
A
or something.
christening gown, yeah, but
Yeah.
it was very fancy.
They probably had you christened in it.
Yeah, and then what happened was the rest of my since I was the only one who got this sort of special treatment. My
Right.
sister says, "Where is that gown? I'd like to put it for because they have babies now." And says,
Yeah.
we didn't have it when Kevin had it. It was too valuable then. We're a
Yeah.
poor family.
Yeah.
We could only wear everything borrowed.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned the Papa Smurf.
Yes.
Papa Smurf. Here's a little bit of trivia. The voice of Papa Smurf was a guy named um, Kip. I forget his name, but he is the father Catan. His name was Catan, and his father he's the father of Chris Catan from Saturday Night Live. He used to play Mango.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the guy um, King Catan, I think was his name or something, and he was Iranian. He was
Oh.
Jewish, a Jew
Oh,
from
okay.
Iran.
Yeah. Wow.
Believe it or not, there are Jews in Persia, what formerly
Yeah.
was Persia. You think it's the most
Okay.
hostile to Jews country, but
Right.
he is of a Persian Jewish descent. He's dead now,
Oh.
and Chris Kattan came, who I've always been a fan of from Saturday Night Live. He came to the comedy club, and I met him, and he was so nice. And
Oh,
he told
wow.
me, I said, and he was happy to hear stuff about his father because he was close to his father, who was
Mm.
somewhat famous because
Yeah.
of Papa Smurf.
Mm.
He was the voice of Papa Smurf,
Yeah.
who he
Yeah.
actually played him as Jewish because the Smurfs are originally from France and they
Yeah.
don't really have any ethnicity, but he was a tailor, so he
Yeah.
made him like a Jewish tailor. The
Yeah.
voice. So King Catan was I think was his name, and he was. I said I saw your father on a TV show recently, and the father had died probably 2 years earlier. I said, why'd you see him on? I said, an episode of Batman, and he
Oh,
was
wow.
yes, he was on Batman.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
a very well liked guy, the
Yeah.
voice of Papa Smurf. He was a
Yeah.
comedian, yeah, a stand up
Yeah.
comedian in movies and stuff.
Wow.
And then he gave us Chris Kattan, whether you
Yes.
like that or not.
Yeah.
But from
Yeah.
Mango and all those other
Yeah.
parts. Um, let's see. I didn't really you know what I really got attached to was sports things.
Oh, yeah.
I was really into sports in my early teens. Like when I say early teens, probably 11 or 12, if you call that, Steve. When I was 11, 12, 13, 14 years old,
Yeah.
I just loved sports. And any sort of sports equipment I got. Hockey sticks. I was into hockey. Roller skates. Loved roller skates.
Oh,
I was very
yeah. I
athletic.
used to roller skate when I
I
was a
wasn't
kid.
that. I'm actually better at athletics now because I kind of know the rules of it all.
Right.
But in those days, I really was learning and I really loved. So I had my mom, I think, bought me a hockey stick, and in those days they were like about $2 or so,
Oh,
which
wow.
was kind of a lot of money. And I actually slept with it that night. I got it, and it was kind of hard sleeping with a hockey
Oh,
stick. And
wow.
you actually have it down the length of your body, and the bottom part is actually sticking
Yeah.
out of the blankets. And
Yeah.
and then but the more was my dad bought me a baseball glove,
Wow.
and the baseball glove, I was so excited having the baseball glove that I actually had my hand in it and slept with it. Like first couple of
Oh.
nights, I was just so excited having my own baseball glove.
Wow.
And I hate not being without a baseball glove. And just last week, I saw it on a baseball glove on sale. I think at
Oh
Big
wow.
Lots and stuff. Ah, now I'm ready for the. And I haven't
Mm.
been asked to be in a softball game or anything in
Yeah.
years,
Wow.
but I'm all set. I have a softball, a baseball bat,
Oh wow.
and a glove in my trunk of my car at all
Oh
times.
wow.
So I'm always ready to play sports.
All right.
I'd hate to say, well, we'll let you play softball, but you have to bring your own glove. Oh, I don't have a glove. I remember we used to always have to throw the glove.
Yeah.
So the other outfielder could use the glove when our team was at bat.
Speaking of sports
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all that, my cousin,
yeah,
she's way older than me.
yeah,
She's about like 10 years older than me.
yeah.
Okay. And when she was a teenager, when she was in high school, she used to be a cheerleader.
Yes.
So anyway, when I was a kid, I went over to their house, and I saw these pom poms that she used to have,
Oh yeah.
and we were her and I were doing this cheer trick for fun and
Yeah.
everything. And after that, she was like, "You can keep those pom poms if you want to." So I got to take them home with me, and I've
And you
always,
still have them?
yeah, I don't think I have them anymore, but I wish I still had them because when I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a cheerleader.
Yes.
But I was a cheerleader years later, so
You became a cheerleader.
yes,
Okay.
so that was about the only sport that I actually cared about.
Cheerleading is a sport.
Yeah,
And I remember going to my first football games as a kid, as a just to watch.
yeah,
And I had no interest in football. It's just a bunch of guys running into each other.
I know. I don't like football.
And nobody.
Yeah,
Oh, by the way, I was watching a ball game.
I do like tennis though.
Tennis. Well, tennis is not football.
I know that's
Football's
not
a
football.
very
Yeah,
technical game, and everyone on the field is doing something important. And part of it, it's almost like watching a chess game, and
right.
they treat it like almost like
Yeah.
military procedure, the coaches. And what happened was, there was a game I was watching last year, and it was a very frustrating game where the Philadelphia Eagles were my team was it depended on the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game, and
Mm,
they didn't win this game because they didn't even play. They just showed up. They just let the other team just run, and
right.
the coach got fired right after this
Right.
game.
Right.
And I'm just watching this because if the Philadelphia would have done something for their fans and
Yeah.
won the game, and even given some sort of valiant effort, my team would have gotten to the playoffs.
Right. Right.
Instead, the other team won and they went to the
Right.
playoffs. So what happened was, I'm watching this, furious watching, and Chris Collingwood is furious. He's the announcer, and he had finally at one point. My sister Maeve is in the room. He goes, he's finally at one point. I'm kind of ignoring her, and at one point he doesn't know what to say, and he goes, "Don't you just love football?" And then I heard from my sister, "No!" I turned around. Oh, I forgot you were in this room.
I would have said the same thing.
No.
I would have said no because I don't like football.
Well, he was trying to get some interest in the game that there was absolutely no interest in, and then he was so frustrated himself, and then I felt, but then my sister said, "No."
My dad, I remember my dad one time, he just kind of changed the channel. The football was on. So
Oh yeah.
he just kind of left it on football.
Wait, you know my dad? You know what my dad does? He likes football a lot. He'll watch foot. He likes almost all the major sports, and he will watch them. But he doesn't like the incessant talking. "Ah, and then he passes. And then he goes. Boy,
Yeah.
is it? Don't you just love football?" He actually puts on like uh, Alexa
Yeah.
playing music,
Right.
all that square music my dad likes. I mentioned on another show,
Yeah.
and he just listen to the good music and just watch the ball game.
Yeah.
He says he realized that when you're at the ball game, you don't hear the announcers. So why
Yeah.
do you have to hear the announcers at
I
home?
know.
He says that, and I said, listen, baseball and football are slow moving sports, so you hear the announce.
Right.
The announcers make it interesting. But when you talk about basketball or hockey, basically you said, and he passes it to him, and you see he's doing that. You don't have to explain it to me.
Yeah.
It sounds good on radio, but on television, who cares? You just watch it.
Yeah. So my dad doesn't really watch much football,
Yeah,
but sometimes he'll watch it every now and then just to like binge watch or whatever.
yeah.
One time he was watching football, and I don't
Mm.
really care about football at this point. I never did.
Yeah.
But I was just sitting there, typed in on the internet.
Yeah.
And then my dad keeps talking to me about, look at this bear, isn't it great? I'm like, who cares?
Yeah,
Why would I
it's very
care?
hard to
I
get.
didn't actually say it to him, but I'm like, who
You know
cares?
what a lot of people don't realize when you go to those ball games like the Super Bowl. I mean, when you're there and you're
Yeah,
a big shot, you kind of expect to go to these places. It's almost like going to the opera. You know, you're bored.
yeah,
In fact, a lot of those people have no interest in football, but they're there because they're in a suite and they're probably the guest of somebody and they're probably eating like good food and
yeah.
all this stuff. And they're talking with their friends
That's
and
probably the
and
only
then and
special
then
part.
once in a while there's a touchdown or a home run or something that they pay
Yeah,
attention
yeah.
to or you know a late
I would care for that, but I wouldn't care for the game.
I was once a
I
VIP.
would just stay. I would just stay at the hotel, and
But
just
that,
that was cool.
but I think part of going to the game is the social aspect, and certainly when you have billionaire friends who own who own
Yeah,
who own, who
yeah,
own suites there.
yeah.
I remember I was once got VIP tickets. I didn't get these because of I'm a cool guy. Another guy got them
Yeah.
for NASCAR. You know what NASCAR is now. Now what happened is so we get there, you know, hours early, and there's food in our VIP section.
Wow.
There's we get to meet the racers. We
Oh
get to meet
man.
the people involved in NASCAR.
Woo.
A lot. I met Joe
Oh
Gibbs, who was the
Jesus.
coach of the Redskins.
Oh wow.
He had a NASCAR team. I
Yeah.
got to see all the guys there, and I was a VIP with a certain particular company. It was actually Circuit City had a NASCAR team. Now let me tell you something that was really wild was that okay, I'm not a big NASCAR fan,
Right.
so I go there with my friend. Oh, my friend actually had like about five people he'd prefer to take, but they all dropped out. I'll go. I've never been. So he took me, and I'm the greatest
Right.
guest.
Right.
I don't complain. I eat.
Mhm.
I enjoy myself. I have a smile. I don't mind walking. I don't mind the hot weather. Everything. I don't mind the rain. I don't mind anything. I'm always a good mood when I especially when someone treats me like a VIP. I'm not gonna have a scowl on my face. I'm going,
Yeah.
oh, thank you. Another
Yeah.
peel me a grape,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
So what that was, I go to this thing and we have a lot of fun. Okay, we get to go to the pit, we get to see the race cars, and we get to see how they do things and everything. And then it's about maybe 20 minutes before the actual race starts, we go make our way to where we're sitting,
Right.
and it's just sitting with everyone else. And then the race starts. 3 hours of the biggest bore
Oh
of just
yeah. I
it
don't
was
get
so
bored.
exciting. It was so exciting. Now I can't speak for people who love NASCAR because
Right.
actually people who love NASCAR see the
Yeah.
nuances and the strategies and
Yeah.
everything. But the rest of us are just watching cars go in a circle for
Uh,
3 hours. So if you're not really in, so I don't think my experience was any different from other people's. If they're not into the sport, they're not going to. You should give the VIP tickets to people who are really involved in the sport rather than
right.
just the big
Right.
shots like myself who don't couldn't care less about
Right.
it.
Exactly.
So anyway, I just love sports equipment. I had let's see, I had I still own a lot of the stuff I used to own. I took very good care of myself. I
Yeah.
mentioned I was poor growing up.
Yeah.
We weren't that poor. I mean, we weren't like Oliver Twist or something, or like
Yeah.
something out of Charles Dickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we weren't rich. We had the one
Yeah.
car and we all stayed in it. But we were
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah. We were
All
happy
got
too. I
along. We
mean,
got along.
yeah.
And but as a result, whenever I got any toys or whenever I saved up my pennies to buy something, baseball cards or something, magazines, comic books, I saved those things. I took good care. I didn't even like lending them to people
No,
or
me either.
sharing them because they didn't care about them like
Me
I
either.
did. You know, my aunt once told me that she knew this brat. There was a lot of brats in the day. There's still brats, and he would get to show you what type of brat he was. He
Yeah.
would get all these Christmas gifts and he would take the biggest gift he got, like a baseball bat or something, or a cricket mallet or something, and break all the other toys with
Oh
it.
wow.
He knew he was going to get more.
Yeah. Huh?
That pretty much in a nutshell, the definition of a brat.
Yeah.
So I would have these, I still, in fact, I have so many. old stuff. I don't really feel like buying new stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm bored now, and I don't even want to go to the thrift stores anymore to see old stuff. I mentioned on other episode that I bought all the stuff on eBay about 20 years ago when it first came out, and that I'm set for life. I don't have to buy any more clothes.
Yeah.
Clothes. I did buy this shirt jacket.
I
Isn't it
love
something? Isn't it
it.
something?
Yes.
It's a 3D jacket. If you look closely at these geometric patterns, they actually become squares and cubes and spheres
Yeah.
and pyramids out of the triangles. I mean, it's pretty wild. It's almost like an MC Escher or who's the other guy that does all that stuff? Mondrian or one of those. And if you actually see this, and maybe not so much on the TV screen that you're watching, but if you actually wear a pair of 3D glasses you get from the movies, you could probably see this actually comes alive. This jacket it almost
Hello?
throbs. Pay attention to it. I'll keep stiff for
Yeah.
a moment. I'm keep moving around. But this is I just got this jacket this week, so how
I
about that?
love the
Isn't it
jacket.
something?
Yes.
I have so many clothes that I love clothes a lot. Get
Yeah.
attached to clothes.
Yeah.
Now, as long as I take care of them, they should last forever. I'm not going to get any bigger.
Yeah.
In fact, people always say I keep my weight down only so I can still fit in all my clothes. I don't have to buy new ones. But my mom was telling me how she had a doll and her mother gave it to just took it out of her hands and gave it to another kid in the neighborhood who didn't couldn't care less about it. And the reason why was you're too old to play with that doll. You should be more mature. She was like probably 8 years old, but she probably had this doll since she was like 4 or so, and she was still attached to it. And she said that's a terrible thing to do to a child. Just
I
rip something
know.
out of their hands
I
and
know.
give it to somebody. A kid that immediately becomes a brat that you'd never want to speak to again because they now have your doll.
I know.
And they don't care about they're like it's almost like giving up your child to someone who adopts it. And then they become like work them in the fields all day or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you knew a kid that actually had a doll like that?
Yeah. Actually, my one of my cousins,
Yeah,
when they were little, he used to have a stuffed Grover from Sesame Street.
yeah,
He loved that thing.
yeah,
And um, some of us, some of my family members were kind of making fun of him because
yeah,
he thought that he was a little bit too old to have the Grover with him every day.
yeah,
Yeah, and then I don't know if I made fun of him or not, but I think my mom and my grandfather did at the
yeah.
time, because
Parents have a way of getting under your skin
yeah,
when.
yeah,
My mother. I always made a point I didn't like girls very much.
yeah,
That was awful. I really did not like girls. And what happened was I came from a family of girls, a lot of girls. There's still a lot of girls in my family. Even the cats in our family were girls. My dad and I are like the only males in the family for the longest time. And whenever people talk about the ERA or equal rights for women, I always say, yeah, we need equal rights in this country for men because in our family we're outvoted. But that was then. We can't make those jokes now. But anyway, I really didn't like girls. Okay, didn't want to play with girls. I thought their toys were dumb. I thought everything about girls were dumb. And but then probably when I was 10 years old, they didn't look so dumb to me anymore. I see pretty girls and stuff, and sometimes I'd want to watch a movie, like those beach movies, like with Annette Funicello or anything,
yeah,
and they'd be on at like after my bedtime. I mean, they'd start like 8 o'clock and they'd be on till 10 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock, my mom said, "All right, go to bed, go to bed." Go to bed. So I'm watching this movie. Let me watch the end. No, no, no. And then she'd see all the girls in their bathing suits and everything, and says, "I thought you didn't like girls. Go to bed." That doesn't mean anything. I want to watch the movie.
yeah,
I want to stay up.
yeah.
And maybe I do like seeing the girls in their bathing suits. you know. But I thought that was the wrong. Sometimes parents will say these things just to get a rise out of you, to get their. I remember my dad once. God, this is an awful story. My dad once got bit by a dog,
Oh
and
no.
a red dog, and then my sister wouldn't go to bed, This is one of my sisters, and then he says if you don't go to bed, I'm going. You know that big red dog that bit me? I'm going to send them on you. I actually privately said I don't think that's a very nice thing to say. He goes, she didn't hear what I had to say anyway. She was too busy crying, wanting to stay up. But then, so the Grover, you like Grover a lot, huh?
Yeah.
We, I was, I had a lot of stuffed animals growing up, but I don't remember really playing with them. It was really weird. I would get stuffed animals all the time as gifts because they thought that was something I would like, and maybe if I
Right.
had one or two, there's, oh, let's buy him another one. Let's buy him
Right.
another one.
Right.
And what happened was on my bed, I arranged them all on my bed, but I didn't really play. They were just there as an audience.
Yeah.
And I don't. Did you have a teddy bear?
I had quite a few teddy
Teddy
bears.
bears, yeah.
I don't think I played with them as much as I did with the other stuff that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So, but I just kind of displayed them and
Yeah, you
they look
put them
good.
on a shelf and everything.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
like every Easter there was all these rabbits. So we had all these rabbits
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
I had those
They
too.
were
Yeah.
they were like multiplying like rabbits. These
Yeah.
rabbits.
Yeah.
We had rabbits everywhere. Pink rabbits, light blue rabbits.
Yeah.
They looked like the Care Bear. They were
Yeah.
colorful
Yeah.
rabbits, pink ones. All this. We had all these rabbits.
Yeah.
And if you play with them long enough, kids with their grubby hands and everything, they all get really nasty.
Yeah.
And then my mom would like put them in
Washing
the
machine.
washing machine, and they were never the same again.
Yeah.
They're all kind of lumpy and misshapen, and I remember like you would have these, they would have these eyes,
Yeah.
and my mom, of course, sooner or later the eye would fall out.
Yeah.
So mom would sew a button there, but it
Yeah.
always looked like a glass eye. Looked like a pirate eye.
Speaking of the rabbits. Remember those rabbits? They were like a rubbery kind of like, and then you like kind of bend them and
Oh yeah,
hold them. And
they had a
they,
wire,
yeah,
and you would twist them
I
and
had a
everything.
bunch of those when I was a kid.
Yeah, you eventually you see them in a pile in your room, just all in one mass, just all crumpled
Yeah,
up. You want to see how you could how you could. I remember Play-Doh was that way.
yeah,
You got bored with your Play-Doh, and they say on the Play-Doh that you usually got blue, yellow, and red, and if you mix them up, you got blue and red would make purple, and and
yeah,
go on from there. Orange,
yeah.
you could
I
get
used to love
green.
Play-Doh when I was
But the
a kid.
craziest thing was they they didn't tell you that once you turn it to green or orange or purple, you can't turn them back. You can't get them back into the red and blue and yellow again. They're
Yeah,
stuck that way. So then you get so bored with your Play-Doh that you just put them all together.
yeah.
just and then you get this purplish brown, ugly gray,
Oh Lord.
the color of a pink elephant, I guess,
Oh my
if you were
gosh.
drunk. And then at that point you just
Yeah.
throw out the Play-Doh. It's no good for
Yeah,
you
there's
anymore.
all those buddies I was telling you
You
about.
can't eat that much Play-Doh.
Yeah, those buddies that I was telling you about,
Yeah.
that they been and all that,
Yeah.
they came in color pink,
Yeah.
yellow, blue, green.
I was once on a show where we got those twisty rabbits and stuff, and they weren't rabbits, but they were like sort of like what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it was a show called the Bozo and Superdog
Oh
Show.
yeah.
And what happened was I won. I played a little game, and I won something, and I didn't say it on the air, but I said it to my dad off screen after the show. He goes, look at all this junk they gave us. And it sounded awful, but I think I meant junk in a good way. But I think they were upset that I called it junk. Now, there's all these junky toys that you would never buy for yourself. You never
Yeah.
ask Santa Claus or the birthday fairy to give it to you. So, so we had all. So what? My sister had a raccoon stuffed animal. I remember I didn't want a teddy bear because I thought a teddy bear was, kind of infantile. So I said, "Is there any? There are other types of bears." And then I got kind of interested in koalas,
Oh yeah.
which are not bears. But I kept saying, I tell you the stuffed animal I want, a koala bear."
I also had a
And so I got a koala bear stuffed animal, and then I actually had a koala stuffed animal, and I had that for a long time, and that was actually pretty good.
I used to have a stuffed Ewok years ago too.
Ewok from the Star Wars.
Yes, he was so cute. You
They
know,
were so
I
insufferable
would.
in the in the third Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
But then, if you, I think they put the Ewoks in that Star Wars movie because I think they weren't having enough little kids watching the movies, and then
Yeah.
and of
Right.
course they had
That
these,
probably made sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they were still above Jar Jar Binks, so that was good.
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, and then so I would have there was what other stuffed animals. So so I would just have them all arrange my bed. But I gotta tell you something, I wasn't really big on playing with them, just having them.
Yeah.
So they're also
Like
very soft.
collecting them, like collecting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people do collect dolls.
Yeah.
As I said, there was so many children in my family that they said my mom was lamenting the fact that only the youngest liked dolls, and the reason why that was because there was always a new kid in the family, so you didn't have to play with dolls. You actually had a real baby to play
Yeah. Yeah.
with. Also, I remember you're talking about you're too old to play with these things. I remember I was one of the first kids, and goes back a ways. I was one of the first kids to have a GI Joe, or should I
Oh
say, I'm from that
yeah.
generation that GI Joe was introduced. Mattel, I think, was the company. They test marketed it, and they found out boys will play with this doll if he's dressed in an army costume or if he's, with weapons and he's fighting his
Yeah.
kung
Yeah.
fu grip and all that stuff. So so I had a GI Joe, but
Yeah.
then came the day when I also had Major Matt Mason and that's astronaut and Billy Blastoff, another
Oh, okay.
astronaut, and there came a day when even my parents said, you're too old to play with these things. You're you're almost finishing college now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put them away. Give them to a bunch of kids who will enjoy them more. Okay. There's actually even one of the Story movies has to do with that, where the boy in it, I think it's the second one, doesn't play with his toys anymore. And I think they wind up in a thrift store or something, or a nursery school or
Yeah.
something. And then they, if you remember Toy Story, they always get together and start doing that. But
Yeah.
that's how it goes when it comes to toys. You get
Right.
attached to these things,
Yeah. It's
and the
hard, you know?
parents want you to get away from them. I can understand. Famously, my niece had a whistle and she was just blowing it all the time, and I said,
Mm.
"Stop it! Stop it! Quit it! Quit it! Quit it!" And then she kept blowing. She after a while she started looking at me and blowing it. So I just took it and just slammed on it. To this day, I think just a few months ago, she actually mentioned that was a terrible thing you did. I said,
Yeah.
you don't know how frustrating it is hearing someone blowing a whistle all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for having me on your show today.
Absolutely.
Can I come back for the second half?
Yes, yes. And we're just going to take a little break first. And we will be right back. God bless you.